Howdy again, as tubalcain, your YouTube shop teacher, with edition number 23 of my This and That series. So stand by, I have a lot to cover, including some updates and viewer appreciation gifts. Let's start off with a quiz, shall we? Who are these two famous men, and this one being far more famous than the other one, but the name very recognizable? And many of you will know this, but probably more will not, and stand by for the answers near the end of this video. I recently received a wonderful gift from L.B. Powers down in North Carolina. He sent me a bag of nuts. Here's 12 ounces of shelled pecans. He told me to keep these in the freezer until I was ready to eat them. And then here's some roasted cinnamon sugared peanuts. And of all things, he told me that during the hurricane out there several months ago, he lost about half of his pecan trees, so it's taking him a long time to recover from that. Also, there was a bag of chocolate covered pecans. I've never had chocolate covered pecans in my life, but of course I polished them off within the first day and a half. They were so delicious. So if you ever get a chance to buy nuts from a guy like this, or from LB, be sure and do so, because he was good to me and he went through some hard times. Thank you, LB, ever so much. Here's a bit of an update on my recent video entitled What Makes It Work, where I covered spot welding. And one thing I didn't tell you is that really most of this machine is a transformer. These are the laminations here on the transformer. And that's what makes it so heavy. But that's not what I really wanted to tell you. I had told you that you cannot weld galvanized metal. And many people have told me they do it successfully. I do recall doing it in the school shop, and it just didn't work out. And I even remember the sound of some of the spot welds letting loose on boxes that the kids made, and it would go ping as the welds let loose, because it was really the zinc that was holding it together, and that wasn't strong enough. So, but it can be done by, I don't know, more powerful machines or people that know what they're doing. Also, I said that you cannot weld aluminum. Well, Ford is making aluminum pickup trucks with thousands and thousands of welds, and that makes the pickup truck 700 pounds lighter. So they are doing it successfully by whatever method they use, and they also use a lot of self-piercing rivets and adhesives in those trucks. Now GM is working on it, so watch for Chevrolet and GMC to be coming out with aluminum pickups here presently, and they're working on it, and they have use a lot higher voltage, and they can even weld steel to aluminum. I don't know how that works. I'm talking about spot welding now. And supposedly they have to resurface the tips every, well, I've got down here 50 welds, but maybe it's 500 welds, some way of automatically resurfacing the tips and then replacing the tips every 4,000 welds. So it can be done on a production basis with high technology behind it. So that's my correction to that video. Be sure and watch for my video series on building this little tool maker's clamp. It'll be 9 parts. The first few parts are already on YouTube, so some of you may want to build that. Now, a few months ago, I talked about these little gun kits that I got at a garage sale for next to nothing, and I haven't done any more with them other than Bill Lee told me to go on the internet, or he gave me the link or something, and here's all the instructions on how to build it, page after page. And also some of the other parts can be purchased from companies. So in other words, they're selling gun parts, and you can put it together and avoid, I suppose, some laws. I don't really understand all of that. But I also had much information given to me by many people, including gunsmiths, about the fact that this is a 45 Colt. Well, I had a 45 short, I guess it here, and I told you it about falls through, and they said, no, you need a 45 long or a 410 shotgun shell. Well, I don't have a 40 or 45 long. I don't have a 45 long, but I do have a 410, and that goes in there, but it's still mighty sloppy, so I don't understand that. Now, I may not do any more with this. Several people already offered to buy these kits from me. I don't really want to do that. I'm just bringing you up to date on what I found out, and somebody also told me that after you fire 2 shots with this, your hand will be bleeding right in here on the web. So I'm not sure I want to shoot it, but I do like those little investment cast parts. You know, Bill Ruger, I was talking about him a few minutes ago. He was the leader in the technology to make gun parts and guns with investment casting. That's lost wax. He came up with the whole concept. In fact, they have a division that does nothing but job shop type investment casting. I believe it's out in Arizona or New Mexico. Some of you know more about that than I. As you recall, when I was doing some rust removal, I was working on this old bayonet that I got at a garage sale, and I was trying to identify it, and several people were very helpful with that. They did say there's a piece missing right here, but Mr. P. Warner sent me a link to Dave Taylor's Civil War Antique website, and I looked it up on there, and I sure did find a lot of similar ones, but not the exact one. Again, this is marked US, but apparently many different companies made them, but this goes back to either the Civil War or shortly after. It's very, very old. Might even have some value, I don't know. But I'm still not totally identified on it. But they tell me that also many weapons were bought during the Civil War from other companies, from India and I don't know, all over the world, wherever they could buy arms. And really the same thing is still going on as far as buying arms. But thanks to Mr. Warner, and I found them on that website, but there's just a little difference here in the way this is constructed or oriented, but sure do look similar. You wonder if that ever went through someone's body. My barber, who is now 93 years old and can barely get around the chair, told me that he had to kill a Japanese soldier when he was in the Pacific. And he said after he had him pinned to the ground, a real small guy, although Willie's a small guy too, but he was a boxer. But as the bayonet was through his chest, the man said something to him. I don't remember what it was, but it was in English, not Japanese, as he was dying. And I was about in tears when Willie told me that story. Just yesterday, I received this envelope in the mail with a letter and some other information, and it was in regard to this gauge that I showed in a What Is It video some time ago, Mystery Tool. This, by the way, given to me by Mr. Weber. But I just told you that it was to check railroad wheels for wear and when they had to be replaced. But this man who sent this to me, and his name is Don Dotson out of Oregon, and he had worked for the Great Northern Railroad, but you know that's long out of business, but then later Burlington Northern Santa Fe, and he did inspections of locomotive wheels. So this was for locomotive wheels to check the wear on them and when they had to be replaced on the flanges and all of that. And on these nicely laminated cards he gave me, it shows how the gauge was used in comparison to the flange and the wheel in various positions here. And then all of the vital information on the charts as to when they had to change the wheels or discard the wheels. And on the back, the wheel inspection report. Now we're to Burlington Northern Santa Fe, a giant in the transportation industry, and all of these boxes would be filled in with the appropriate information and then gone to somebody at a desk someplace that would, I suppose, made a decision or recorded all this data. So I thought that was really neat information accompanying this gauge, and I know I'm gabbing a lot, but thank you, Don Dotson, for that information. And he sent a nice letter as well. I went to Sears Roebuck earlier today and bought myself a Christmas present, and it's a DeWalt 20-volt lithium electric drill, portable drill. Now, lot of the kits that they offer, and they had a lot of different brands, the Craftsman brand and all of that, but a lot of them include 2 drills. One's some kind of driver, you know, I don't want that. But this came with 2 batteries, lithium batteries, and I just unpacked this, but I wish they'd take a $2 discount and not give me this stupid bag, which I have no use for. But in here, along with, I won't even look at this because I know it's all safety stuff. But I put the battery in there just minutes ago. Here's a charger. Here's yet another battery, lithium. I was shocked when I put the battery in and it immediately worked. It's even got a work light. I suppose that's a novelty, but I hope I didn't get screwed on this. I think they spend too much time styling them and making them look cool, but I tell you, I have had no luck with battery drills over the years. I've owned all the major brands. This Craftsman couldn't have been more worthless, and I bought that in August of 12, and it was dead here a few minutes ago. I put it on the charger 6 hours ago, and it'll be dead by the end of the day even if I don't use it. So I want to smash this with a hammer, but too many people get upset when I wreck things. So I'm not going to do that, but I am throwing it away. And then I get people, well, throw it my way. No, you don't want this. This I bought even more recently, 2 years ago, at a farm store. Absolute piece of junk. I didn't expect much out of it, and believe me, I didn't get anything out of it. So I had to rant a little bit over here, but Merry Christmas, tubalcain, on your new DeWalt lithium. And I'll give you an update on this, and I need to give you an update already on my Harbor Freight compressor, and what a disappointment that was, but I'm not going out in the cold garage today to tell you about that. It's 15 degrees here in Illinois. Let's have another quick up-to-date here on derusting, and this again are the chisels. Now they've been in there for about 30 days. Now I just got scolded by someone today by way of a comment or an email telling me stop taking that out to look at it all the time because you're stopping the reaction and all the goodies going on there, and that may be. And I have looked at it several times and it's getting a lot better, but I have to tell you that this molasses method is to be used only by young men who have plenty of time left, because it takes time. If you're 73 years old like me, do not use this method. But you can see that the rust is finally coming off, and I will show you more of this. Let me rinse it real quickly here. I'm near the sink, but you can see, probably not because of all the light on that, the rust is coming off. There's still some scaling here. And I also was scolded for not using commercial grade molasses that they use to feed cattle. But, you know, we don't have access to all that stuff. We got to do something here that is easy. Now, I'm going to do again the Olympics here. I haven't gotten around to it because I got so many other things going. But in the Olympics of rust removal, I bought the citric acid. Maybe I mentioned that before. I have bought the navel jelly, and if it doesn't work on rust, I'll put some on my belly button. And all the other methods that I'm going to use, and there's one of that oxalic acid. I'm going to get some of that. They sell it as wood bleach, I'm told. So I'll get some of that. But I probably will do some separate videos on the citric acid, which they tell me is just great. And then again, I'm going to do all 8 of them or so together. But that's coming up when I get done with some of these other projects. You have heard me talk about Elgin breeding service before, so Brad Cardwell sent me some stuff another time, which I showed you, including a sample of the sperm that they use down there. And he sent me yet another care package and with something real special in it. So take a look at this, and thank you, Brad, ever so much. I got some more of these coolies, I think they call them. And, you know, this guy's not totally full of bull. Here's one for Henry and one for my other little grandson up in Aurora. I'll give those as Christmas presents. They'll think I bought them. Now, he's given me some gloves before, but you can never get enough gloves, so everything marked appropriately. And look at this. I got 2 nice t-shirts here in 2 different colors, and they are, of course, it's all about breeding. Elgin Breeding Service, and then what have we got on the back? Texas. And I was just in Galveston. I'll talk about that in a minute. Thank you, Brad. But the reason he sent me this stuff is that he saw my video when I made the compound for that little Craftsman Atlas lathe. Do you remember that? A lot of people have watched that, so you probably watched that too. But of all things now, that entire video series was in vain, because look what he gave me. Ton, 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 ton. There. A replacement part for that lathe, including the gib. So how about that? Is that amazing enough? And the T-slot in perfect condition. Thank you, Brad. That's real awesome, and thank you for all of the other things that you sent along as well. Also, watch for another project coming up along with plans by Tolley, and it will be this bell center punch, and there'll be drawings by Tolley inspired by the Cushman antique bell center punch that I had in stock. So that'll be a several part video showing you how to do an internal taper, an external taper, and a concentric hole, and some other operations that I haven't done before. So that might be a fun project for you, even if you have no use for it, or you might just enjoy watching it for the sheer pleasure of it, and being able to avoid watching that horrible, horrible network TV. The answers to the who is it? This, of course, is the famous Bill Ruger and his partner Alexander Sturm, and they formed the Ruger Gun Company, Ruger Sturm Gun Company. He was the genius behind the mechanisms and manufacturing. He provided the $50,000 necessary to get the company started. Now, why am I telling you this, and what's that got to do with tools and various things that I discuss on this video? Let me carry that just a step farther if you'll bear with me. This picture is taken out of my book entitled Ruger and His Guns, and it's the story of Bill Ruger and his company. And this is again Bill Ruger. I know you can't see him, and right at the end here, and this is his first staff in his factory called Ruger Manufacturing, and they started out making tools. Although he already knew a lot about guns, he needed some experience, so he started out making tools. And you notice here he's got various drills, including a Yankee type drill. And look at this drill here, and here it is from the bottom. And believe it or not, I got one of these at an auction once, and it was pretty dirty. I got it home. I was sorting stuff out. I almost threw it away because it was so ridiculous. And I cleaned it up a bit, and I found the name Ruger on it. I was shocked. I did a little research and found out that it was really quite valuable. I put it on eBay and sold it for a king's ransom. So that's why I'm talking about Bill Ruger and this tool manufacturing business. In about 1949, he started the gun business with Alexander Sturm. Alexander Sturm was a bit of a Renaissance man. He was not a mechanic. He was an artist, among other things, and a polo player and a man about town, but he had money. And he provided the $50,000 to start the company, and he did the artwork on the original Germanic eagle. You notice that some of the earlier ones were red, and Bill supposedly made it black after Alexander's death, untimely death in 1952, I believe it was, of hepatitis. So he never got to see the results of his money working for the Ruger Company, Sturm Ruger. I hope you're interested in this little sideline. Some of you will be. Now on with the show. Here's the final item here, although I have many more. I just can't include them all. I know this is running too long here, but about a month ago, in October of 2016, I got an email from Charlie up in Naperville, Illinois, asking if I wanted a rotary table. Now, this is a 10-inch rotary table, so of course I couldn't get in my car fast enough, and went up there, and he said it's free, but it's not in good condition. And I've already de-rusted some of the components, but it was disassembled when I got there. And I see this is broken out, but so this will be a repair project you'll see in a video, and a de-rusting project. Why it was taken apart, I don't know, whether it was because of a failure or somebody was just trying to clean it up. But I don't see anything else that's wrong with it, and other than a lot of rust. And it's made by Walter in Germany, so it's an import, but it's a European import. And Walter, I looked it up, made some real quality stuff over in Germany, so there it is. I hope to get this up and running in a future video, so watch for that. This is tubalcain saying so long for now, and thanks for watching, and watch my 800 almost other videos.